What's up, everybody? Back with another episode of Uncontested Shots, Boston Celtics, new Boston Celtics show from MassLive.com. I'm Jay King. This is Tom Westerholm. We're the beat writers for MassLive.com. Check out our show, which is going to be about 2 or 3 times a week on everything Celtics. Go to the Boston Celtics YouTube page, Boston Celtics Mass Live YouTube page. Subscribe to us. Check us out. Watch our videos. We're going to be talking about everything Celtics right now. Everything is basically just injuries. The Celtics are beaten up. They are bruised after the healthiest stretch of their season, which was like 6 games long. They have run into a gauntlet of injuries. Let's start with Marcus Smart, which might be the most important depending on the severity. Looks like he could be out the rest of the season. Let's pretend he is. How crushing is that to their postseason chances if Marcus Smart can't play?
Well, I mean, it's brutal because we saw how much he brings to this team and what happens when he's out for extended periods of time. Earlier this season, they went into that funk, and some of that might have been, pre-All-Star break, just being exhausted, having some young guys who maybe, needed kind of some time off. But they just look so much better with Smart on the court on both ends. Like, it's whenever they kind of need order restored in the middle of a game, Stevens will put Smart in, and then everything seems to kind of come together a little bit. He's such a great defender. He's so versatile. He can guard so many different positions. And when you can do all those things, it makes the offense easier because you're getting rebounds, you're getting out in transition. He's creating steals all the time. He gets, however many steals a game. So, I mean, it's brutal. Like, they really need him, especially when the postseason comes around, especially to defend some of the better guards. He's now their best guard defender. And in the postseason, that's crucial.
Yeah, and the thing about it, too, is off their bench, they don't have many perimeter options. As deep as they've been all season, most of it's in the front court. Like, without Smart, then you have to turn to Abdul Nader. You have to turn to
Right.
Semi Ojeleye. And those guys have had some good moments during their rookie seasons, but they're just not ready for that level of basketball. And it's a huge downgrade from Marcus Smart to them. So I think that's maybe the biggest issue. And when you saw Marcus Smart go down, that was the biggest problem for the Celtics. They don't have another player who can duplicate, who can replicate what he does.
Yep.
Who can run an offense, who can defend 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 position. Like, he just brings a lot to the table that not a lot of guys have. I think if Gordon Hayward were healthy, then the Celtics would be able to combat an absence like that.
Yeah.
But he's not. And I think without him, they were hoping that either Abdul Nader or Ojeleye would kind of step up. And there's still time for one of those guys to do that and start playing well, but they haven't done it so far. And so that's just a major, major loss. When you look around the rest of the NBA, though, I think weirdly in the Eastern Conference, Smart's absence won't be felt quite as much because the Cavaliers, they don't have great guard play anymore.
Yep.
They don't have a lot of scorers among their guards. The Raptors are really the only team with like a powerhouse backcourt. The Wizards could have it, but John Wall, who knows what's going on with his health.
Yep.
So that's the one silver lining, I guess. But
I think
still,
you worry
he's
about
huge.
the Pacers, too, with Oladipo, just because he played Oladipo so tough the other night. And obviously Oladipo got going a little bit late. But, he did have like an entire half where he just made Oladipo's life really difficult. So, I mean, I would say the Pacers you worry about, too. But, yeah, I mean, to your point, that's, that there's not that powerhouse backcourt, aside from maybe Toronto.
And Toronto's backcourt is as good as it gets in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, 100%.
Both those guys, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, have just playing great basketball. DeRozan stepped his game up. And they're so good, the Raptors right now, that you're starting to trust them a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've been untrustworthy in the past. They've lost in the playoffs. They've gotten stampeded by LeBron James and the Cavaliers in the past. But now they've bought in, it seems like, to their new style, and they're playing differently. They're launching a lot of threes. Their bench is outrageous. So the Celtics were going to need to be really good. And they showed for like 8 games that they could be really
They
good.
were right there.
But now a bunch of injuries. The other one that's long-term, Daniel Theis. It's another big one. And obviously he doesn't play a ton of minutes, but he just gives the Celtics a different dimension that their other big guys just don't.
Yeah, he's that switchable guy. He does such a great job of recovering on the pick and roll and of, just running their execution, in their pick and roll sets defensively, and then still getting to the rim and still defending and still rebounding at a reasonable level. I mean, their bigs this season, they've been much better at rebounding, and that's not because of Horford. Horford he's a little bit better, but they're better just with all their bigs in the game, and that's a tough loss. Like that switchability, that versatility, that contribution off the bench. I mean, he had that one game where he's even hitting threes now at a reasonable rate. It's not like a one game thing. He's hitting pick and pop threes, and just losing that. Again, this is not a team where you can lose a bunch of guys and even off your bench and still be okay. Like, their bench over the last little bit has been one of their strengths, and that's one of the reasons that they're playing better. So I think he's a big loss. It's maybe like you said, he's not playing that many minutes per game, but I think just losing that consistent presence, that kind of consistent contribution on both ends, that's tough.
And before, it felt like Brad Stevens had his choice of toys to pick in the front court, like Aaron Baines for the rugged defender, Greg Monroe for the low post presence, Daniel Theis for like rim running and lob catching and switchability and a little bit of three-point shooting. So I think this puts more on Horford's plate, because when they go small, it's going to be him. Like, there's not much other option. Like, maybe Semi Ojeleye can play the 5 and show he can do that. He's not a great rebounder. I have doubts that they'll be able to rebound and defend with him at the 5. He did have that great stretch against Brooklyn down the last like 5 or 6 minutes of the game where he played great, and he did have Summer League where playing the 5 was his best option, but that was Summer League.
And we keep going back to it months later.
And so it's like there's still a lot for him to show in that role. He hasn't really had that chance to play the 5 this season. Maybe he'll get it now with Daniel Theis out. But yeah, it just feels like that loss will be hurt in weird ways. It will hurt the Celtics in weird ways. And maybe not weird ways, maybe obvious ways. Like, Daniel Theis was just Mr. Solid, Mr. Reliable, and he was a guy, he doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. It's hard to attack him. Like, there are certain matchups Greg Monroe can get attacked. There are certain matchups Aaron Baines can get attacked because you stretch him out. Daniel Theis, like, he's not the greatest player in the world, but he doesn't have weaknesses. He's just, like, super solid all the way across the board, sort of like Horford is, but on a way lesser scale. So that's another big one. And then all the other injuries, we got Kyrie-Irving. With Kyrie-Irving, it's been so crazy that Kyrie-Irving's injury, which is a nagging injury that's coming back from the 2015
in his
surgery,
knee, which is a worrisome area.
That's like the least of the concerns right now.
Marcus Morris, he had a great game, 31 points, 11 for 22 shooting. He did so much for the Celtics. They relied on him so heavily that Brad Stevens said that he thought the Celtics would only have a chance to win if Morris scored 35 or 40 points. He did so much. He led a Celtics team that didn't have Kyrie-Irving, didn't have Al Horford, didn't have Daniel Theis, didn't have Marcus Smart, didn't have so many guys, and he was so good it almost feels cruel that he made such a bad mistake on the final possession of regulation. Essentially, Celtics wanted to take away the 3. They were up 3, 5 seconds left. Marcus Morris went to contest Otto Porter at the rim, left Jody Meeks wide open in the corner, and Morris knew he screwed up.
Being a veteran, I think, opportunity just for committing to the ball, knowing that he needed 3. He made a great play.
You just can't have that in the final seconds of a play, especially from really one of the few veterans the Celtics have healthy right now. He should have known better. He should have known to stay with Meeks at the 3-point arc. If Porter had scored the shot, made the dunk, made a layup, whatever, Celtics are still up 1 with a couple seconds left. All they have to do is inbound the basketball safely, hit a couple free throws. Even if they missed a couple free throws, the Wizards had no timeouts left. It would have been so tough to go the length of the court, get another bucket. So as well as Marcus Morris played, as much as he did for the Celtics, as many key shots as he hit, he wanted to have that one back. It was just an ill-timed mistake. Not a good one. Not at all a good one. Just a brain fart at the worst time. He did give the quote of the game, though. All right, let's talk about Tatum's chances to win. End of first overtime. Crazy finish. Celtics are down 4 in the final minute. Terry Rozier hits a 3. They force a wild turnover to get the ball back with 8.8 seconds left. Jayson-Tatum goes to the hoop, finishes a tough and one. Just an awesome play. Tatum had a good game. Tatum got to the hoop. Tatum had dunked it. Tatum missed some shots that he would like to have back, made some tough decisions in the paint. But the two that really mattered the most were, one, the free throw after he made the aforementioned and one, It happens. He's a great free throw shooter, around 84% for the season. One of the best free throw shooters the Celtics have. He's shot the ball well from everywhere. He's made a lot of clutch baskets this season. He's made clutch free throws this season. Sometimes you just miss them. And the three-pointer at the buzzer, basically at the buzzer, another tough one. The Celtics decided not to call timeout. Tatum got the ball on the right wing, isolated. He said he danced a little bit, thought it was in, just hit back rim. Sometimes we miss those, and especially without Kyrie-Irving, without Al Horford, without as many players as the Celtics had, they were relying on guys in different roles. Normally, Tatum is the one creating that shot. Maybe he gets that shot, but it's a catch and shot opportunity. So guys had to play outside of themselves a little bit tonight, and in a couple of key moments, the Celtics didn't quite finish,